Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the SEO video show. Today's special guest, we have Randy Rohde of 38 Digital Market. We'll be talking about how to build links with SEO press releases and Google News websites. I see a few of you out there. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Anastasia, happy Friday. Edwin, hello. Luther, what's up, my man? Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in the live chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Today's topic, we'll be talking about SEO link building with press releases with our very special guest today, Randy Rohde. Juan asks, hey Dre, and thank you for the video. What are the reasons you are looking into directories? I'm setting one and launching next month. Just curious. I'm looking to build an asset, an SEO asset, and build possibly ways to get new clients. I mean, there's so many things you can do with directories. I mean, I have some few niches that I can see that are very lucrative with some using a directory. So that's kind of the three reasons why I want to get into directories. I saw a course out. I think it's like Flattery. I can't remember his last name, but he does come on a show. I think it's Flattery. Go check out his course. He's on Semantic Mastery's weekly shows. So yeah, and also my guest last week, Vashko, is actually putting out a new directory software, so you can definitely check that one out. If you're just tuning in, we'll be talking about SEO link building with press releases and Google News websites with our very special guest today, Randy Rohde. We're still waiting for him in the back. Let me make sure he's not trying to contact me. Fry, hello from Seattle, Washington. I see Randy in the back. Randy, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
All right. Looks like you're switching cameras.
Yeah. Hold on.
All right, Ernesto. Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Today's topic, we'll be talking about link building with press releases and Google News websites with our very special guest today, Randy Rohde. All right, I see your new view. Looking good, looking good.
All right.
And I can hear you. You sound fine. Wait, you paused. You just paused. Okay, you're back.
Hold on. I was hoping I would be able to get my I was wanted to get my background.
Oh, I don't know if it can do that unless you have a different software. Kobe says, "What's up, Randy and Dre? What's up, Kobe?" All right, guys, we got about 4.5 more minutes to go. I see Randy in the back. He's just getting things ready. He looks good. He sounds good. He's ready to answer all your questions. Be sure to get them ready. We'll be talking about Google News websites, press releases, and how they can help you with your SEO strategy. Apologies for those watching on Twitter and LinkedIn and on Facebook. I may not see any of your comments. So if you want to ask some questions, please hop onto YouTube and ask your questions. Juan says, "Hey Dre, thanks for responding. You said Semantic Mastery released a course on directories." No, they have not. But I know Bradley talks about it a lot on his weekly shows. And I think he is putting one out or is just teaching it within his mastermind. So be sure to check that out. If you're just tuning in, our special guest today is Randy Rohde. We'll be talking about SEO link building with press releases. So get your questions ready. I see Randy dancing in the background.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, there we go. Be sure to get your shouts out. We got 3 minutes left. Rayham.com. Yo, Dre. What's up, Ray? Hannah Becker says, "Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing?" I'm doing just fine. Nice weather here in Oakland, California. How about you, Randy? How's the weather out there?
It's beautiful today, actually. Not too bad for Cleveland, I got to tell you.
Nice. Love it.
I dig your show, man. I dig the music. It's like,
oh yeah. I went on Fiverr and I didn't want to get those copyright strikes all the time. So I went on Fiverr and met a producer and said, "Hey, I like funk and hip hop. Can you kind of put that together and add some nice mixes for me?" And he's like, "Let me try."
Yeah, it's awesome is because it's like so much of your personality. It's like perfect.
Love it.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, guys, I see there's a bunch of you out there. Get your shouts out. We got about one more minute left. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting things ready here. And Randy, I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute for a quick second. And then once I introduce you in, I'll unmute you. And that'll be about 8 minutes after 12 my time.
Check.
All right. Again, if you're watching on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, if you have any questions, please hop onto YouTube so I can see your questions. I may be able to see some of your questions on LinkedIn. I'm going back and forth, but if I do miss them, hop onto YouTube.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey!
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest today is the founder of 38 Digital Market, Randy Rohde. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Harry, Ray, Hannah, Juan, Fletcher, Kobe, Ernesto, Carol, Luther, Anastasia. Hello everyone, welcome. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, why do they call it the Mini Panda Update? Because it finds content that's a little bare. Oh!
Martin, John, and Gary discuss the potential reasons why your website or page is not indexed, both from a technical and quality perspective in the latest Search Off the Record podcast. Let's check this one out.
So there is a report in Search Console for page indexing where you can see how many of your pages are being indexed and kind of the reasons why they're not indexed. So that would probably be a good place to start if you want an overview. And usually I tell people to look at the individual pages in the inspection tool, like Gary mentioned then, because looking at a site overall is sometimes misleading compared to looking at individual cases.
A place I consistently look at and check for index pages is in the sitemaps section, because you can easily break down the pages and see why your pages are indexed, like for being excluded by like a no index tag. Okay, how to use internal links to boost Google rankings with the Middleman Method with Samo from Ahrefs. Let's check this one out.
The first is backlinks to the linking page. Backlinks are essentially what fuels a page's so-called authority, or what's more officially called PageRank. And when a page has gotten quality backlinks, it's able to pass a portion of its PageRank to URLs it links to. Now, if a page doesn't have much authority, then it can't help boost the page's rankings because there's nothing really to pass. The second requirement to make this strategy work is to ensure the linked page matches searcher intent. Because Google's job is to provide the most relevant results for any given query, you need to make sure the page you're trying to rank satisfies the intent of a person who clicks to read it. If your page doesn't match intent, then throwing PageRank at it via internal links and even external links won't be the best solution. And the third thing you need are competitors that you can actually compete against. For example, if you have a brand new website in the gardening space, you probably won't want to compete against these pages that have hundreds of backlinks, at least not yet. Instead, you'll want to compete with pages that are on a similar playing field as yours. Now, let's talk about actually finding internal link opportunities. And I'm going to talk you through how I might check for the 3 things we just went through along the way.
Be sure to watch the full video to check that all out. Okay, I continuously ping my current backlinks every month with indexing and crawling services. I use Google PageSpeed API to crawl all my links with custom scripts automatically. So be sure to kind of like really kind of check out your links, backlinks, and by getting them pinged. Okay, Google SEO Ranking Factor tier list by Matt Diggity. Let's check out his top 2.
topical authority. Instead of just creating a handful of articles on your main topic, you instead cover anything and everything you can on the topic. You don't just write a pillar article on the best CBD oil, you also get into CBD benefits, CBD side effects, CBD drinks, CBD gummies, CBD in pets, the whole shebang. Once you do this, Google has no choice but to consider you an authority on the subject. I've used Topical Authority to grow this site from 2,000 to 25,000 visitors per day. That's over 1,000% increase. Topical is 100% an S tier ranking factor, and it deserves it. It's a game changer once you get it down. The next ranking factor is search intent. Matching the search intent is all about presenting content that matches what the user is looking for. I know that sounds super nebulous, so let me explain it further. We have informational search queries where people are looking for answers to questions such as, when is the next season of Attack on Titan? Hurry up, damn it! If you Google the keyword and open up the first article, you can see what type of article Google is expecting. In this case, a typical content-based article. Then we have transactional keywords like buy cosplay costumes. And if we do the same thing again, we can see that Google wants to see an e-commerce layout. Hot. Let's do one more for funsies. There's also comparison search intent, such as best anime for nerds. Who you call a nerd? And for this type of search query, Google is expecting to see a listicle. I'll put this as straightforward as I can. If you don't get the search intent correct, you will not get traffic on Google. Search intent is a make or break S tier strategy.
Creating content for search intent is essential for enterprise SEO strategies. Optimizing for all parts of the funnel intentionally with content will help you drive prospects down the funnel. Kyle Roof shares how to establish EE in EEAT.
They really, really love to talk about UGC, user-generated content. Like they really like it a lot. And if somebody has, the experience and expertise in something that I realize is that people are going to ask them questions. It's like when people ask you questions or me questions online, like this guy's got the experience or the expertise, and this is the person that I should be asking a question to. So I think one thing that I would do just to maybe tick that box would be to get UGC on the site, user-generated content. So people asking comments, making comments, asking questions, and then answering those way. And you can do that in a keyword-friendly manner. But it's also a good way to kind of slowly get content on the page, which I think is also helpful as well, because then you're going to be continually updating that page and new things are getting on there. So that's how I probably approach those two things.
I see UGC is even more important than ever before with the new SGE rollout, search generative experience, particularly with the perspectives portions, because where Google actually pulls content from Reddit, Quora, and comments from like high authority blogs. So be sure to check that out. What can help your EEAT? Press releases. This brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions and I will address them in the order that in the order that they are received. Please support the channel while I get things ready here. Randy is the founder and CEO of 38 Digital Marketing, a full-service SEO and digital press release agency for the past 7 years. He has been helping businesses dominate their market by leveraging the power of social media, Google, and press releases. He is the host of Running the Bases with Small Business Podcast. He has spoken at SEO Rockstars, Yes SEO Conference, and more. Please welcome the news guy, Randy Rohde. Randy, my man.
I love it, Dre. Man, I love it. I was hoping I was going to get that video because that video is jamming. I got to tell you.
Love it. Welcome to the show. Everyone, let's give a round of applause.
Love it.
All right, Randy. This is the first question I ask. Get to it in 1 minute or less. How does Randy get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Well, of course, I've got to say press release, right? So write a compelling, awesomely great article, throw it out on a terrific publisher like 38 Digital Market, and it's the best way to get on first page. I mean, I can easily and confidently say we'll get your brand on the first page.
Love that first knowledge bomb of today. Okay, let's go ahead and rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us way back in time. When did Randy first get into SEO?
I love this show. Way back. I actually have to tell you, so years ago, it seemed like a whole nother lifetime ago, like in 2008, I had a company, not in digital marketing at all. It was an education company, and we were doing all different kinds of things, and realized needed to get into paid search and drive some leads. And so I thought, oh my gosh, well, I need a website. And so I just kind of hunkered down. I don't even know then where I even began to learn and see what in the world and how to do it. But we put up a website, started playing around with paid campaigns on Google Ads and Bing. And anyway, ended up being okay. A few years down the road, we had some friends that were in the business and asked if we could do some of the same stuff for them. And so we did. And I don't know, and down the road, I think in 2016, decided, hey, let's just kind of do this thing kind of full time. And so we started 38 Digital Market and been doing it ever since.
Nice. Okay, so what part of actually SEO do you like about it? I mean, that's something like, what part of SEO did you actually like you found interesting?
I always find it as a game. So
Okay.
for those of you who know me, I love baseball. And so I love, the competition, the kind of throwing your best pitch out there and seeing what you can do, or stepping up to the plate and trying to knock something out of the park. And SEO, I think I always find a little bit like that, being in that scenario, because you're doing stuff. You're trying to create, with our clients, we're trying to get them on first page of rankings. And so, we'll do different things, but we're always coming up to the plate. We've got a strategy. We think we know what we're going to do against the competition. And almost every client that we ever take on, obviously, usually has some kind of competition. And so, we build a strategy around that. How do we get our client to knock it out of the park and overcome or surpass their competitors on the search pages? So I don't know. I find it very fun, very challenging, and it's always something new. Google is going through a massive algorithm update as we speak. And so it's like, well, what's going to happen next week? Because could be a whole new ball game. AI and SGE is out on the market. And so, there's never a dull moment.
Love that. Same here. I mean, so tell us, like, how'd you actually learn it then? I mean, everyone had to start somewhere. So how'd you actually learn SEO?
I saw this question. I'm like, I don't even know back in 2008 where, but over the course of the years, I will say, I followed guys like Craig Campbell, somebody early on, and I think this guy and I were probably kind of getting in about the same time. It was Chris Walker. Love Chris. Some of the guests that you've had on your shows, I follow and learn from, even now, Kyle Roof, Matt Diggity, Terry Samuels, Clint Butler, all of these guys, guys that you've had, I follow and watch and learn from. Holly Starks, a good friend of mine. We got just good stuff to pick up and follow.
Excellent!
Oh yeah, love it. Same people I learn a lot from as well. I mean, okay, so let's get to the topic of today, which is SEO press releases. I've actually came across you through the Rockstar circuit, the SEO Rockstars, and that group of SEOs there, and I find PR is something that press release is something that I've always been, doing myself, but it's been getting a lot more accessible. And companies like you, I started being able to create distribution companies for, for other SEOs out there. So can you kind of briefly explain the role of press releases in today's modern SEO strategies?
Well, I think today in this, I don't know, over the last couple of months, especially, really have been wrestling with where search is going and press releases and content. With the advent of AI and generative content creation, you can't open up your inbox or go online, LinkedIn or whatever social platform and see a new AI content creator, here's the latest and greatest, you can get all kinds of different things. And so because of that, it was like, God, where is this world going to? And I saw this, I think actually in an IMG conference. They had a one-day conference a few months back, and it really started getting me to think down this path, which was that I think brand voice and brand awareness is going to be critical with good content that is crafted by human and has a human element to it. I think is going to be more important than ever before. And that content, I think, can be certainly in the form of a press release, but in video, content like you're creating today and have been for, I don't know, I'm episode 146 or something like that. Congrats. That's quite an effort on your part. But that is all original content. And so when people craft and create this kind of content, that is what is going to push a brand forward. And so, there's all kinds of stats out there. People talk about, something like 92-93% of everybody searches online before they make any buying decisions. And they're going to search for your brand. They're going to search, well, who is Randy Rohde? What is 38 Digital Marketing? Who's Dre? Who is that guy? Right? And so they're going to who is that? And because of that, then you want stuff to come up and be on the first page of any kind of ranking that's going to promote and shine a good light on your brand, and your content is going to do that. Authoritative websites that you're going to get out of press releases are going to do that. And so I think press releases are going to play a critical role moving forward, and even a bigger role in helping to promote the brand and the brand voice moving forward, especially in this day and age of generative. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Generative, yeah. Generative, yeah. I think generative.
Yeah, AI, but of this AI content that's being created, I think
generative.
Again, I think that I'm not going to try it again, but I think we agree with what we're trying to say. But that's my take anyway. I think that press releases and brand voice are going to be really play a critical part.
Love that. Mark even says brand voice 100%. Speaking of voice, you have a killer voice, especially for your podcast. Lovely voice. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, love it. All right, let's get, we have a few questions here. Hobby, I'm going to come into them really quick. Let me go ahead and get into more of what I have few things I have lined up here. I want to go and ask you, so what are some kind of the key components of, a high performing press release? Now we talked about how press releases play as the brand voice and getting that. So what are some of the kind of the key components of a high performing press release?
Well, at a real high level, right? Yeah. So we'll just kind of talk through just some of those key components. First, you got to have this compelling, engaging headline. That is going to be the thing that that headline is so critical because it does so many different things. One, is a news site even going to be interested in picking up the article to begin with? Two, is it going to even gain a reader's attention and get some eyeballs on it? And then three, the headline, as you construct this thing, and you do it properly, is going to be a massive benefit from an SEO standpoint. So that headline is critical. Don't you can, fluff the rest of the article, but don't waste, just apply as much energy as you can on a good, captivating headline. So you got your headline. Then you're going to have an engaging intro where you really are like, it's almost a little bit kind of that funnel where you're like, capturing, and Diggity talks about it, you got to capture people's attention immediately within an article. Same kind of thing with the press release. You got to get a good, engaging, captivating introduction through there. Then you've got the body of the article where you're telling the who, what, when, why, where. I always say you've got to answer the W's through your press release. Have some quotes, some relevant, compelling quotes in the article. People love to see that. Stock it up with, so this is in the body, stock it up with any kind of facts, any stats. The infographics are great. So anything that you can kind of build some key information, because that will as well actually help from a publication standpoint. If you have a press release and you're talking about, I don't know how busy the moving season is. So if you're a local mover, right, and you're doing it, we do a lot of press releases for movers. And you want to talk about how busy the moving season is right now. And even though the mortgage rates are high, and let me tell you, houses are flying off the market, people are moving, and here's some stats, up, and to show the growth and movement. News sites love to see stats like that because you're not making them work for material or for information. So if you can supply it, they're like, great. Everybody is lazy, man. Nobody wants to do work. So if you can supply the information for them and give them the stats or some kind of incredible quote, they're going to love it and they'll print it for you. And as well, it's going to help build additional organic pickups from other news sites that may not be in our initial distribution network even. So all of that stuff, I think, makes for a good body. Then you're going to put in contact information. Don't forget that. You want to have and build what we would call in our industry kind of that soft citation. So you want to have your name, address, phone number, your website URL in there at the bottom of the press release, going to be critical for that. And then you're going to have at the end of the press release this about section. So about Andre, right? About 38 Digital Market. And then that's your chance really to kind of sell and give some good history. Hey, 38 Digital Market does full SEO services. We also promote, right? So you can really promote your company and the brand there in that about section. And those are, at a high level, those are some, what I would say are kind of critical components of a press release.
Love that. We had Craig. Boom. Craig came in and says, sexiest voice in SEO. There you go. Hi, Craig. What's up? All right. So I want to get into kind of what kind of like, when you talk about press releases too, you talk about like bringing in facts and all that good stuff. I mean, like what kind of like angles you kind of go for, like kind of the topics to get, that determines that right press release?
Dude, that is challenging, right? Yeah. So I said, I get stuff that gets thrown at me. Sometimes it is really easy. The clients will come and they're like, here's what I want it to be about. And we can easily look at their page, look at their keywords. What is it that kind of the topic or a theme that they would want? And then we can easily like, okay, great. Here's an angle that we can go. And sometimes clients come to us and they have no idea what in the world to do. And so, we will take some time and kind of craft that. I'm fortunate I've got really just a great stable of writers and editors. And so we can kind of sit around and we've been doing it. We've been distributing press releases since we built our newsroom. We started in 2017, really launched live in 2018. So we've been doing it for a while. And so we can kind of skate through that process probably which would seem pretty quick to some, but it doesn't take too long actually for us. So we're blessed. Again, I think we've got some great folks, but yeah, finding that great hook though, that's sometimes it can be challenging, and depending upon the industry, where can be easier than others. So.
Love that. Love that. Speaking of hook and headlines, how are you like crafting that compelling headline for your press releases? I mean, that's something that, is really tough as well. I mean, I've read a ton of books. I think my headlines still are crappy. How do you make your headlines so awesome?
Yeah, I think read the books, right? So you've got to be a student of some of this stuff a lot of times, and I think you're looking for, I love Seth Godin, man. That guy, go read some of his stuff. That is a MBA in headlining creativity. Just reading any of his books, but yeah. So be a student, learn. Using action words in a press release, and especially if we're doing something for an SEO purpose, we want to, there's components around that headline that we want to use, certainly. Want to get the brand mentioned in the headline if at all possible. Because that's going to be, what I was talking earlier when we were talking about the brand voice. So if we get the brand name or brand mention right away in the headline, and I always love to kind of see it right at the front end of the headline, that's always going to be our target. And then we look at what is the piece of information that they're sharing. And I always tell, it's newsworthy, right? So if you can see my quotes, newsworthy. Sometimes, I think, local mover. Well, what the heck is newsworthy about a local mover? And there's all different kinds of things, and just some even generic ones. They're expanding services in a new region, expanding across the state, purchase new equipment for the busy moving season, updated their website, have 5 tips for an easy move this season. There's all kinds of things that you can begin to craft that could be newsworthy. So we want to get the brand. What is the hook? What is the idea? And then as well, if it's applicable, we want to get a geographic or a geo-relative phrase in there. So, Randy's moving service of Cleveland has 5 tips for this busy moving season, right? And so I want to try to get, and again, as close to the brand as possible, some kind of a geographic target or a phrase in there. So some headlines, it doesn't matter because they're a national company or they're whatever their service is. But certainly for a local business, we're always trying to get a geo-relative term thrown into the headlines. And I kind of glossed over it quickly, but throw a keyword in there. You want to get what is that main keyword or main service that you're trying to target and to highlight within the press release. You want to get that in there. And the keyword, actually, we even try to get that keyword like brand, keyword, geo target, hook, that kind of a sequence almost that we see from the best SEO impact.
Love that. Okay, that kind of is a perfect segue to my next question on the keyword research.
Can I drink on here?
Oh, yeah, you can drink.
I'm just drinking coffee.
Here, cheers. I'll drink with you. Cheers. All right, so I want to go into the actual strategy here because sometimes when I talk to people that use press releases, it's to get backlinks and they'll put a bunch of links within their press releases. And how like this keyword, you talked about keywords in the headline. So how does keyword research play within your press releases? Are you actually trying to get these press releases ranked as well, or are you just trying to put them out there just to get the backlinks?
Well, it's a good question, and it's multi-purpose. So yes, you want to get the keyword or the press release article to rank, but not because of the article or the press release itself, but really because, again, tying the and this is why you do some keyword research around this as well, is that you're tying the keywords that are relevant and important to the brand. So you're always trying to tie everything back to the brand. So Randy's moving service, moving company. And so I want to throw out these terms of Cleveland mover, Cleveland moving company, Cleveland services, moving service expands in Cleveland. So I'm trying to throw out some of these long tail keywords, geo-targeted, geo-linked, relevant, and we're building the article. We may not use and probably not going to anchor with live links to those keywords that we're salting within the article, but because we're making the article relevant to the brand and their service and whatever maybe as well that we're linking to, it is going to create a good dynamic SEO relative piece of content that is going to rank and is associated with the brand. And that in itself as well, the article will rank the press release, but it as well will push relevancy and link juice off to the brand and to wherever we're linking to within the article itself.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that.
Love those.
All right. So let's go. Let's take a break from some of my questions here. Let's go into some of the questions that we have here from the audience. Right. Let's see. We have one here from Hobby. Hobby has a bunch of them here. Let me try and pick one of them here. What? Let's see. Let's try this one. He says, what role does SEO link building press releases play in improving the online visibility of a home and luxury apartment owners' businesses?
I think there is no industry, no brand that cannot benefit from a press release, a digital press release, because every industry, you have a website, you want to get it ranked, you want link juice coming. And there's all different kinds of strategies that we can employ to boost, empower, and drive all kinds of links to your site. And there's no business that cannot benefit from that. Now, I say that there are industries or niches that can't publish. So we have to follow through a press release, essentially Google publishing guidelines, right? So we're not going to, and we can't publish an article on for a porn site, pharma, casinos, gambling, a few others, but you can look at the Google content decency guidelines, and that's essentially kind of the parameters that we have to begin to follow as well. Very few publishers will go around that. There are some publishers now, though, that we can, for a long time, any kind of crypto content was not allowed, but we've been able to crack that nut a little bit, and we're able to do a little more on the crypto side. So
love that. Speaking of industries that are like shamed by Google and you cannot publish, have you gotten around strategically somehow? Like, has some people or some clients of yours like, hey, can we somehow do this? And you still like, okay, let me try and do this. Have you had any of those?
Dude, are you want me to like throw out some secrets here? I can see. Come on.
Of course.
Man, I do have to say, I love your hair, man. I wish I had that. I could like, that is awesome. Let me tell you. So there's a few different ways, almost regardless of the industry. We can always with some finesse, almost always publish a press release about the company. So if it could be one of these questionable niche companies, XYZ, they have a website, and we can generally talk about the company. Maybe they've updated their website, they've merged with somebody, they've acquired something, so expanded inventory, whatever, something. But if it's about the company, rather than the industry or rather than their product, right? Their questionable product. Generally, we can get a press release across the finish line, get it published by that way. There's other kinds of things where we may publish an article that is not necessarily relative to what we're actually linking to.
Okay.
So think about that for a second. Where we've got an article, it's could be somewhat relative, and the text or anchors, and in this one, we're typically always doing it as an anchor, linking out to, maybe one of these questionable kinds of sites that we can do that, right? The main site, though, that the press release is connected to, so say it's 38digitalmarket.com. That's the main site that we're going to put in the about section and in the content information. That's got to be a good, clean site.
Yeah.
But sometimes the anchors could link out to something else.
Got it. Getting a little sneaky there. Sneaky. All right, let me have another question here from Harry. Is it Harry? Harry. The mother of my wife has a business where she repairs agriculture tractors for local farmers. I would like to make press releases for her website, but how would I create a story when her life is very boring? Aw.
That is great. But wait, I have to go back and the mother of my wife. So this is his mother-in-law, who I'm guessing could be, anywhere from like 40 to 60 out there repairing tractors. Well, I'm a farm boy from Nebraska, so I know about tractors and agricultural tools. So that is funny. I would say, a great story that you could probably release is like, hey, grandmother, or fixes tractors and expand services, right? I mean, there's like a great hook that we could craft some kind of a press release about to drive attention. I mean, just your question actually braces for all kinds of like kind of cool angles that you could take a press release on. Yeah, that's funny.
There you go, Harry. All right, we got one from Mark before I get back to my questions here. Mark asks, what's the key difference between press release link building and digital PR?
Mark, I'm not sure that there's really is I look at that and think, well, that's really is kind of the same. A digital PR is meaning digital press releases in which you're distributing across a vast network of news sites and not print, right? And you're getting links from that. Now, press release link building, you could be maybe thinking that as well. You could apply that term to the various kinds of strategies that you might employ utilizing digital PR. So meaning, throw one out here as an example, press release stacking, where you do one press release, you throw it out there, hey, SEO video show rocks, show 150 episodes, right? And then come back with press release number 2, and could be about, something else that SEO video show is doing, or Dre, next exciting guest on the SEO video show is blank, blank, blank. And then in press release number 2, we're actually going to create an anchor and a link from one of there's a lot of different ways you can do this. But say maybe the press release number 1 is on AP News or on Yahoo. And so you'll take one of those really powerful links and link that as an anchor and link in press release number 2. So that way, press release number 2 acts as it's its own tier 1 links, right? But it's also acting as a tier 2 link off to press release number 1 and pushing juice up to that. So you can do all different kinds of fun stuff from a link building kind of tactics or strategies with digital PRs.
Love that press release stacking. Interesting concept there. I want to go into more of like what are some strategies that you ensure that your press releases get distributed across a wide array of like news networks? I mean, I'm actually curious how this works too, because like you have a distribution network. Like, how do you is this something that you become a membership of? Like kind of like run us through like how this actually works and how you're able to get this picked up. I'm curious.
Well,
you press
first
the button
of all,
and like, hey.
Yeah, right. I wish it was only that. I wish it was that simple and that cheap. No. First of all, you got to go out and you got to build the back end of it. So you've got to create the infrastructure. So think of it as just like you're building a great website and creating the opportunity for traffic to come in and only. You're building an infrastructure or a newsroom so that you can distribute content out. And then you've got to go create news partnerships with either kind of wholesale distribution channels or networks, news providers, or through individual news platforms, and create partnerships for those. So we sign contracts with a lot of different news wholesale networks so that we can then distribute, and then we build that pathway directly out to them from our newsroom. And it goes into their content buckets, and and with that, we have to make assurances. Hey, this content is clean, it's original. We have the authority from the client that we can publish this content. So there's some legalities that surround this as well. And then we, essentially then we push the button. But there's, tremendous expenses around it. We try to keep our costs low from a distribution standpoint. And a way that we do that is that we buy bulk inventory, meaning rights to publish content on, say, AP News. So that's, there's an expense into that as well. So when you come and you're like, hey, Randy, you're charging me for this digital press release. Well, yes, because just like any other business, there's expenses behind it, right? So, our time, but plus the infrastructure of actually being able to distribute this thing. So I think your question then as well was, well, how does it work? But then how do we get it, broader? So one, we create a network, right? So and right now we distribute out to, I think we're up over 800 plus news networks right now, or news sites that we're distributing, pushing out to. Now, I say that number, not every news site is going to pick it up, right? Got it. That's why now a good majority will, but that compelling headline is really got to be critical. And so you ask, like, well, how do you get it more and more widely distributed? And so there's a couple of things, and I think I kind of mentioned this early on as well, but that headline and the initial introductory paragraph, the content of that, the engagement of that, the information that you're able to put into that is really critical, because it is, even with our own distribution network, they're not required to publish it just because we may have a contract. They still have final rights to say, no, this is not either. Doesn't meet our standards. We don't see a fit for it, whatever reason. And so, but if we can write a great article, it's going to get there. The other thing is, once the article is released, there are a lot of small regional news sites and newspapers out there
Mhm.
that are hungry for content. And so they will pick up. So once this stuff is out there, it's essentially kind of public domain. And so they will pick up. If it's a interesting story, they will add it as either a story that they just want to feature and or as part of their press release news content as well. So that's why when we were talking about earlier about building that content in the body using relevant, great quotes from either executives within the company or the presidents or whoever within the company, maybe customers, product developers, things like that. So, right, some good awesome kind of quotes, relevant quotes, throw statistics in there, any of that kind of stuff, so that some of these other news platforms might get interested in it. If you've got some great captivating images or infographics you can throw in there, is another great way to kind of build organically. Generally, what we see is now we're going to distribute out, and when we report out, it's a big, generally we'll report out about 48 hours or so after we do the release. And there's going to be a good number of news sites that'll pick it up, several hundred. And then generally about the 7 to 14 days after that, you're going to get a lot more traction with that. Now, we may not report that out because I don't have a wide net. My distribution, what I'm going to report out is what it is that we know that we have pushed out to. But you can look through, various SEO tools, whether it's SEMrush or Ahrefs, and look at referring domains or IPs that are picking up content and giving a backlink to you. And oftentimes you'll see a whole additional slew of more of news sites that are like, wow, that wasn't on my initial report. They can go back and look at it like, no, Long Island News wasn't on there, but now I've got a link from Long Island News from that story. And it's so you can always expect to get another good round of organic news sites picking up on a good, well-crafted press release article.
Love that. We're coming close to time here. So guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and sneak them in, because I have a couple more that I want to ask before I have my last question here. I want to go ahead and ask, so once your press release is up and running, it's published, what is the secret sauce that should be done after the press release has been published?
Yeah.
What should we be doing?
Sauce.
Yes.
Well, there are a ton of different things that can be done. I'll leave this one though and say, you have to think about your news release links. So your link to AP News, your link to Business Insider, your link to Benzinga. That meaning the press release link, right? So you're going to get listed on AP News as a press release. Well, there's a URL for that story. So that is a tier 1 link for you. And so you should treat it as such. You should never leave a strong, powerful tier 1 link alone. Like, don't leave it just orphan. Like, give it some support, give it some juice, right? So I've had this conversation, I don't know how many times with people, like, well, I was a little, I thought I was going to do a little better, and it was there, and then, it kind of began to fade. And my first question is, well, what did you do to kind of help provide some support to some of those great links? AP News link from us on AP News is about a 94 DA link. You're not going to leave that thing just kind of out there on its own, floating around. You're going to hold its hand. You're going to stroke it. You're like, oh, I love you. This is so, I love you. Yes. So you're going to give it some tier 2 links. You're going to give those tier 2 some tier 3 links. You're going to boost that baby up. When you do that, one, you're going to keep that link or that article that's linking to you. Now, you got to remember that article is linking to you and passing some awesome juice to you. But so you'll keep that thing up and on first page of search. But the other thing is that you also want to give as much life to that press release article as you possibly can. And so if AP News sees and can monitor that link or that story and see like, hey, there's other articles or there are other pieces of content and sites that are linking to this story, we're going to keep it up here longer. And so, you know, people always say kind of a ding about press releases like, well, they have a lifespan, right? So you're going to put a press release out there and it may live for 60 to 180 days or so, and then it's going to fall off. And that is true. That does happen, but you can extend that by going back to the giving it some love, right? Hold its hand by throwing some tier 2 and tier 3 links to it, because it will show up on those news sites and they're going to love it. Now, you can't blow it up. You know, don't go through GSA services and these links, because, you know, those guys will pull it down because they don't want garbage like that. But absolutely go throw up some good tier 2 links to it.
Love that. Okay, my last question on the topic here is like, I just want to ask you, like, what are some of the future trends you see with press releases and like SEO and link building? I know you kind of touched upon it in the very, very beginning, but to like sum things up, how do you see like press releases working with SEO strategies in the future?
Yeah, well, as what I said earlier, I think press releases are going to become ever more important for brand voice. And having a good, consistent strategy for press releases so that your brand is constantly being mentioned by authoritative news sites with relative content that's important for your brand is going to be critical as we continue to trance down this AI, SGE kind of search. And you'll just want to do everything that you can to get your brand mention pushed forward in search, I think. So digital PRs, I think, are going to play an ever more important role for that.
Love that. So the last question I ask all my SEO professionals here: if someone wants to get into the SEO game, get into the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
Dude, study, learn, dig in. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Join some strong, powerful mastermind groups. I mean, I've been in the industry for a while. I'm part of a couple of different mastermind groups. Craig Campbell's got a great mastermind group. Go join that thing. Build a network of people that you can ask questions, bounce ideas off of, learn. They will point you in the right direction on where to learn. There's a ton of great resources out there that you can learn SEO principles. Diggity has got some good stuff out there. IMG has got great content out there to use as tools to learn. So learn, study, join groups, build a network. Don't be afraid to dig in. Have a few test sites. We have test sites and we're doing all kinds of stuff on to try to blow them up and figure out what works, what doesn't. So it's all just fun, man. Have fun. And that's probably the other thing. Just have fun.
Love that. Okay, for this episode to feel complete for you, any last comments, and how can people get a hold of you?
Hey, this has been fun. I love your show, man. I'm like, man, I hope he's going to do all of the fun, fairy dust and all of the great animation. No, it's been a great show. I appreciate having me on, Dre. People can reach me on our socials, Randy the News Guy, Facebook. We got it on YouTube, Twitter. You can also go and hit us up on 38 Digital Market. There you will find our press release services page, and you can check out what our press releases look like and information on our press releases and how to order and all of that fun stuff. So yeah,
love it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. Thank you. All right, ready? Can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Just hold on for one quick second. All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. Let's get this to our next goal of 6,000 subs. All right, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show, let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now, time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!